Federal authorities are investigating a deadly shooting outside of the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington. 2 people are dead and a suspect is in custody following the attack. The victims both worked at the Israeli embassy in Washington. They have been identified as Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram. The 2 were set to become engaged and had just walked out of an event at the museum when the shots rang out. Witnesses say the suspected gunman was pacing outside of the museum before opening fire. Law enforcement officials describe the attack as targeted. He was arrested at the scene shortly after he fired.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
This is the moment police made the arrest. As you can hear, the suspect appears to be chanting Free Palestine while being taken into custody. Our Gail King spoke with a witness who says she consoled the suspected gunman, who was rain-soaked and seemingly distraught as he pretended to be a witness in the moments after the attack.
He reaches into his bag and he pulls out a keffiyeh and he says, I did it. I did it for Gaza. And just starts shouting Free Palestine. And that's when the police come in and arrest him.
The suspect could appear in court to face formal charges as soon as today. Here's Attorney General Pam Bondi reacting to the fatal shooting this morning.
Everyone is working together as a team. FBI, ATF, our U.S. Marshals are out here trying to protect everyone. But our Jewish community must feel safe. What we saw last night was disgusting. I saw a young man's body being taken away who was about to get engaged. He had an entire life in front of him, and that was taken away. The hate has got to stop, and it has to stop now. And this person will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
For more on this, I want to bring in former Florida Congressman Ted Deutch. He is the CEO of the American Jewish Committee, which hosted last night's event. Congressman, thanks for being here.
Well, I'm glad to be with you. Thank you.
After the attack, you released a statement saying this is a shocking act of violence and our community is holding each other tighter tonight. How are you and other attendees who were there last night holding up?
Well, this was a shock that affects not just everyone who was at the event last night or people involved in American Jewish Committee. This is a shock to the entire Jewish community everywhere around the globe. We have known that the kind of rhetoric that we've seen, the kind of incitement that we've seen over recent months, where people talk about globalizing the Intifada, where they're supporting terrorists who slaughtered Jews, that eventually that could and likely would lead to devastating violence. And no one wanted to be right. But last night, we saw what can happen. And it was devastating for the whole community. We're going to stand together, as we always do, this time with so many friends and allies around the world. But it's been a really challenging time for us.
Certainly understandable indeed. We know this event was for young leaders to gather on humanitarian diplomacy. What questions do you still have that you want answers to about how this happened?
Well, we have so many questions about what happened here, and law enforcement. I mean, the response has been so powerful, both from the Trump administration, the Attorney General, and Secretary of Homeland Security. We've seen the same strong response from the mayor and her team in Washington. We want to know as much as we can. Who was this person? What happened? How is it that that somebody like this could wind up taking a gun and going and striking against an event, as you point out, that was focused on ways to build community together across the Middle East, across the region. This is the work of AJC. We work to build a world where people can work together, where Israel's place is normalized and Jews can thrive. And here's someone who comes with the goal of breaking that apart. And we need to understand how that happened. But we also need to make sure that the rest of the world understands that there is a role for all of us to play in fighting anti-Semitism so that we never see something like this happen again.
I know this just happened and you're still absorbing everything, but do you think this will make you change your posture at all surrounding future events?
Well, from a security standpoint, we take security very seriously. We have, every Jewish organization does. It's a tragedy that we live in a world where where a group of Jews gathering together has to worry about being a target. But we take that obviously very seriously. Going forward, the most important response is going to be to show the resilience of the Jewish people and standing strong, standing proud as Jews, working with friends and allies to not tolerate anti-Semitism. And by the way, we have to understand what that means. If you see anti-Semitism in your kid's school, if you see people who are excluded because they're Jewish, if you see people whose position is that the one Jewish state in the world has no right to exist and is evil, and as a result, if you support Israel, then somehow you're evil and should face the kind of violence that we've seen across the country. If you see it in your business, wherever it is, you have to speak out. And if you don't know how, then reach out to us. Come to AJC. Get involved in the community. We want to be able to provide the assistance so that everyone is comfortable speaking out. If you are not speaking out, you're not part of the solution. We cannot tolerate the kind of hatred and anti-Semitism that leads to the horrific violence we saw yesterday.
Ted Deutch, who also represented Broward County during the 2018 Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. We are so sorry we are speaking to you under these circumstances. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Lindsay.